Buffalo Bills agree to terms with linebacker Nicholas Morrow and what he is ultimately going to bring for the 2024 Bills Mafia. Here we have some images of Morrow actually tackling Josh Allen in that game last year in a remarkable game in the rainstorm. But you could see number 41, Morrow, getting down Josh Allen. You could see here that Mike Garafolo reporting that the Buffalo Bills have agreed to a 1-year deal with linebacker Nicholas Morrow. Sources say that Morrow had 12 starts with the Philadelphia Eagles last year, wearing the green dot as the defensive signal caller along the way. And the first point I want to make is ultimately what the Buffalo Bills lost when Terrell Bernard went down last season. We really didn't have another middle linebacker to fill in. We had to call up and call back A.J. Klein. He was on his way to Key West enjoying himself, and it's really because we didn't have a depth piece middle linebacker for the Buffalo Bills that was fluid enough to call Sean McDermott's defensive plays. And ultimately against the Kansas City Chiefs in the playoffs, that really bit us hard. And I think a lot of Bills Mafia, a lot of fans are overlooking the fact that Terrell Bernard was out that game versus the Kansas City Chiefs. But furthermore, taking a look at Morrow and his history in the NFL, he began the 2023 NFL season on the Eagles practice squad. Eventually, he cracked the 53-man roster by mid-September, and last season he made 12 starts at the linebacker spot as the defensive quarterback for the Philadelphia Eagles. With the Eagles, Morrow played on a veteran minimum contract in 2023. He's played a total of 94 NFL games and making 54 starts over the course of 6 seasons. The Bills will mark Morrow's 4th team in as many seasons, though he began his NFL career spending 4 years with the Raiders between 2017 and 2027. Statistically, in the 6 NFL seasons that he's been here, Morrow has made 465 total tackles. 334 of those were solo, 43 tackles for loss, 20 quarterback hits, 7 sacks, and also 1 safety, adding 3 interceptions, 27 pass deflections, 3 forced fumbles, and 3 fumble recoveries. Something that I always preach here with the Buffalo Bills and what we do and bring in with players, especially on defense. Players that show up across the stat line, whether it's interceptions, forced fumbles, fumble recoveries, batted balls. We make sure that these players that we draft and also sign free agent-wise are showing up across the stat line. Sacks, quarterback hits, interceptions, batted balls, just showing up and doing a little bit of everything for this defense. And seeing the total amount of tackles that he's had in only 54 starts is absolutely remarkable statistically wise. And you can see, okay, total tackles, an extremely high amount of total tackles. He's had tackles for loss, which means he could read the opposing offenses, read the defense, and also read running plays, dive in there and make tackles for loss. He also has 20 quarterback hits and 7 sacks, which means he's an avid pass rusher. He could definitely rush the quarterback, and signaling that he could blitz, something else that the Buffalo Bills need, to include the 1 safety too. I mean, obviously, he has those tackles for loss. He has an ability to blitz and read that offensive line, also defensive line, finding that crease to knife in there and make a play. And then pass coverage-wise, just like Terrell Bernard, we need a linebacker at that middle linebacker spot that can pass cover and cover teams like the Kansas City Chiefs, like the Cincinnati Bengals, like the Miami Dolphins. We need a pass coverage linebacker. And Morrow is definitely the guy for Bills Mafia to back up Terrell Bernard and solidify that glaring hole. But again, 3 interceptions, 27 pass deflections, 3 forced fumbles, and 3 fumble recoveries just proves that he's flying around the ball. He's got a knack of where the ball is at all times, just like Terrell Bernard. This article addresses the most immediate question for Bills Mafia, and people are asking what is going to happen with Terrell Dotson's future in Buffalo, meaning that we signed Morrow instead of Dotson. And you really look at Dotson, and I think he was developing in his pass coverage ability, especially with Bobby Babich working with the safeties, now working with the linebackers, obviously now promoted as defensive coordinator. But the signing of Morrow really proves that he's a pass coverage type linebacker and going to be a little bit better in pass coverage than Terrell Dotson. But I'm not going to rule out that Dotson won't come back to Bills Mafia. I think he could very well be a depth piece at that linebacker spot. Obviously, he can play middle linebacker, he can play outside linebacker, he can contribute on special teams. So I think there still is some value for Dotson. And when you really look at it, between Morrow, Terrell Bernard, Dorian Williams, Matt Milano, they're not the biggest linebackers in the world. I mean, Matt Milano definitely is, but talking about them going against the run like Dorian Williams, Terrell Bernard, and Morrow, having another bigger, solidified linebacker like we did with A.J. Klein when Dotson could make a lot of sense. To me, the signing of Nicholas Morrow means that we are going to officially have a depth piece to Terrell Bernard at the middle linebacker spot. And as I mentioned, going against the Kansas City Chiefs, that was clearly a glaring hole, not having a solidified middle linebacker that wore the green dot, that could fluidly communicate Sean McDermott's defense and also get everyone lined up properly. You are the quarterback of the defense. We really didn't necessarily have that last year. That's why we brought in A.J. Klein, because he was aware of the scheme. He was able to line players up. But what A.J. Klein lacked was pass coverage ability. Obviously, older in his career, his athletic skills aren't where he once was. And you look at Nicholas Morrow showing up across all of the stats, whether it's sacking the quarterback, whether it's in pass coverage, whether it's tackles for loss and reading the defense. I think the Buffalo Bills definitely found the right linebacker to back up Terrell Bernard in case there is an injury sustains him throughout the season. I'm sure Morrow is going to help out on special teams as well, but I want to hear from you. What do you think about this under-the-radar signing by Brandon Beane, bringing in an additional linebacker? I've been preaching it here in my videos that linebacker was definitely another spot that we could very well address in the NFL draft, but we all know Brandon Beane uses free agency as a tool to fill the holes before the NFL draft, so we're not stretching and taking a player that doesn't fit the value of that overall pick. But I want to hear from you. Drop your comments down below. Make sure you hit like, subscribe on this video. That's how you're going to support me for keeping this channel alive. You guys are all truly the best. Also, check out Course Careers in the description. You can get $50 off to land a high-paying tech career remote jobs. They have free introduction courses. They just launched a digital advertising course as well. So make sure you guys check that out. That's how I landed my full-time job. But you guys are truly awesome. Hit like, subscribe, and go Bills.